Special request review. This review was so urgent that my friend Jonathan, huge shout out, down in Santa Ana, California, sent me a copy of this movie, and then I lost it, and he lent me his copy of the movie. So today we are reviewing the Mike Judge cult classic Idiocracy, which I had never seen before, and it came out the year I graduated high school in 2006. So I love Mike Judge. I've seen all of King of the Hill. Never got into Beavis and Butthead, but King of the Hill, and obviously every time I get fired, I put on his classic Office Space, which is one of my favorites for a time of reminiscing about a job that may have left me. So this particular movie is about a dystopian future, and I briefly read the Wikipedia page to explain everything here to you, the viewer of my lowly channel. So immediately when I read the back of this movie and kind of saw the premise of the movie, I thought, which came first, WALL-E or Idiocracy? Because they are very parallel movies as far as what goes on. Although one is for children and it's an animated feature, one isn't for not for children by any means. So let's talk about WALL-E first. This movie was released by Pixar Disney in 2008. But then in my brief research, the premise of this movie dates all the way back to 1994, and I believe Toy Story came out the next year. So this movie had been in the works for a long time about a dystopian future where consumerism and obesity reigns supreme. Idiocracy, Mike Judge started writing this movie and the idea of this movie in 1996. So this movie was beating it by 2 years, but I highly doubt that these two guys shared ideas. John Lasseter, Mike Judge. It's just a big coincidence. This movie came out 2 years before this one, but this one was thought of 2 years before he started putting together this film. And they made Idiocracy. Interesting side note, this movie was first shot in 2004 and it tested very poorly, and then they reshot it again in 2005 and it tested better, and then it was released into theaters. But it takes a lot of cheap shots at Fox News, which was at the time 20th Century Fox was the distributor for the film, because Mike Judge was on Fox with the whole King of the Hill program. So he was kind of like biting the hand that feeds him, and they did not let it really have a big movie release. It cost like $2.4 million to make, and it only made like $495,000 at the box office. But then in a little blurb that I read, they said that Fox said, well, maybe it'll become a cult classic like Office Space and The Rental World on DVD, which it did. And Office Space came out in 1999 as a little side note. So this movie, it follows this army librarian who is an average Joe with not a lot of ambition, played by Luke Wilson, Joe Bowers. And he goes into some sleep chamber, think 2001 Space Odyssey, or think Alien, where they go into those pods, or even Harlan Williams' classic Rocket Man, where they're going to test it out. And he's supposed to go in for 1 year, and then the guy in charge of the whole military program gets arrested in a prostitution sting, and he ends up waking up in the year 2505. The counterpart that he was frozen with was Maya Rudolph. And then they both wake up in 2505, and I can't read. This guy right here, who's married to the Veronica Mars chick. I don't put a lot of effort into these videos, folks. Anyway, he's their lawyer. Everyone is so stupid. Think Beavis and Butthead. Lots of grunts, lots of profanity. And then that's where, like, to me, the tie-in for WALL-E, because there's just mountains of trash everywhere. But in Wall-E the earth was uninhabitable. These people are living amongst the ruins of their consumerism, and Costco is like thousands of miles long. And instead of drinking water, corporations have replaced the water supply with Gatorade, which in turn created a huge dust bowl. It's a dystopian mess, okay? So it was easy laughs. It's so stupid. It's funny. I do not like it as much as I like Office Space. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I'm going to disappoint you with my review. IMDb is 6.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is 71%. Google users 82%. And I am 3 out of 5. I'm kind of like, it's not the greatest movie, but I enjoyed it and I laughed. It's not going to win any Academy Awards, but it's not supposed to. But it does get you thinking. We are seeing the dumbing down of American society right before our very eyes. And he's predicting this societal collapse 500 plus years in the future. But then even in the Wikipedia article, Mike Judge, with the election of Donald Trump in 2016, he was like, I guess I was 490 years off, where he thinks at that point on we're going into a dystopian nightmare. And perhaps we are on the verge of a societal collapse in the US. Who's to say? We're not going to get into the philosophies and ethics of society here in this low-budget video review. We gave it our seal of approval. I enjoyed it. I like Mike Judge. I look forward to seeing his reboot of King of the Hill, and I do thank my friend Jonathan for loaning me his copy since I lost the copy that he bought me. Check it out. Comment down below if you feel like it is truly a cult classic, which Wikipedia told me it was, so I'm apt to believe it. Until next time, we will see you then.